Good evening, good evening, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are here tonight at the virtual recreation of Zolder for the SimGrid's More Female Racers Season 4 as we head very, very promptly to the season finale, which is just 2 weeks' time. Steve Christie and Laura Loft here with me in the virtual commentary box tonight. Laura, fresh out of that absolute chaos and drama that was the Saudi GP yesterday. Laura, good evening. Are you ready for some more chaos?
I hope that we don't have any. Good evening, and also welcome to the chat. Thanks, David, for introducing. I hope that we don't see any chaos, but Zolder, as we know, is a tricky track and also quite narrow. And last time we also saw some funny overtaking situations, also quite aggressive mode on. So maybe let's see what happens today. But I think we just look at the track then also a bit later and dive into what we expect for the race.
That's right. So you've got an optimistic Laura there, ladies and gentlemen. We'll hear more from her in just a couple of minutes. But for just now, we're going to go and catch up with Denise Pope, one of the staff members here at the SimGrid, who was kind enough to sit down for a couple of minutes to interview with me. Well, it's time for another very special guest interview, and this time I'm kind of jealous because it's a lady of many, many creative talents, none of them which I possess myself. Denise Pope, owner of Wild Things Racing, as well as very talented sim racer. A very, very good day to you.
Hi David, how's it going?
It's not too bad, not too bad. Now, first things first, we need to talk about this season because, I mean, it has just been, you know, out of the frying pan into the fire for Wild Things Racing for all three of your teams. Obviously, you're teamed up this season with Sarah Moore, you've got Lisa Louise-Keane and Richard Pixley, and then you've got Melissa Taplin and Aurelian Cross. We'll get more into them in a little bit, but how has the season gone for you?
It's been quite tough, to be completely honest. Because I've always been sort of the main female driver before. And I've never sort of had the experience, or I've had less experience of being up against the real pros and the real fast drivers. So for me personally, it's been quite tough to try and improve my pace and consistency and keep up with them. But on the other hand, it's been really, really enjoyable. It's been ace working with Sarah. We have such a good laugh while we're racing together. That's kind of also what attracts me to sim racing as well. It's not just the driving side of things, but it's having fun and being part of that sort of community. It's been really good as well. So this season has been interesting. It's been good. It's been a challenge. Not bad at all, actually. Not bad at all.
Now, from following you on social media, both on Instagram and on Twitter, I know that you've got a very high bar of expectation for yourself in terms of the way that you drive and things like that. How do you manage that on maybe a night where things aren't going your way?
I don't manage it particularly well. It's one of the things that I'm trying to improve, especially when things... My thing is really being consistent and not making mistakes. So when I do make mistakes, I'm very, very tough on myself, and I have had to learn to try and manage that side of things whilst driving, and just try and keep it calm. And because I think the more flustered you get and the more sort of angry at yourself you get, the more mistakes you're going to make. So I've just been trying to be mindful of that and try and relax a bit more. And as I said earlier, it's all about having fun, really. So I think if I keep that in mind, it should help quite a lot. But I think it's important to have the standards as well. I like the idea of being consistent and driving safely and being predictable and kind of having a standard that I would expect from other drivers to some extent. So yeah, it's something I'm always conscious of and always trying to improve.
Another thing, obviously, with 2 rounds left to go in the championship, Zolder is going to be our next round, and then obviously we've got the public voted track where voting will close today for that track tonight at 9 p.m. European time. So firstly, what's your thoughts on Zolder? Then Snetterton, Oulton or Donington Park, which one of those 3 would you personally prefer?
Okay, so Zolder is interesting. it's a very tough track. It's a very tough track. It's very technical. I've always thought of it as quite an easy track, but once you start to learn how to be fast at it, it turns out it's actually not easy at all. It's quite tricky. And also, we had the race last season at Zolder, which was, from our perspective, with Rob in the silver class, we got the victory, but it was unexpected. But then I watched the broadcast back later, and there was absolute carnage behind us. So interesting. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a good, fun track to drive, but it does demand quite a lot, I think. In terms of the public votes, Snetterton is not my favourite track at all, so I really hope it's not that. It's too difficult. It's too narrow. Either Alton or Donington, I'd be really happy with. Donington especially, I think, is a fantastic racetrack. It's really good fun. It is a challenge. Lots of different types of corners there. So that would be my choice personally. So I'm looking forward to seeing which circuit it is in the end.
And so finally then, Denise, I guess the most important question for tonight is series like More Female Racers that are aimed at developing female talent within the community. How important do you think they are?
I would say very important. When I first got into sim racing, I didn't really have a starting point. I was sort of aware of the SimGrid, but I didn't really know what it entailed in terms of getting involved with events. And signing up to the first series of More Female Racers, it gave me sort of that foundation of which I've been able to grow on, I think, in terms of having somewhere to go, having events to do with people that would be around my pace level. So I didn't feel out of place, or I didn't feel slow or something. It was just it was like a door opening that made it very attractive and very easy to kind of get involved. And I think that if that can happen for more female racers, that can only be a good thing. Because it's so lovely to see. It's a fantastic community of females that are getting involved in sim racing and proving that they can be on the same level as anyone. And I think the more that happens, the more accepted it is. That can only be a good thing. There's no downsides to that. So I think it's been fantastic.
Well, Denise Pope, it's been an absolute privilege to catch up with you today. Best of luck tonight at the race at Zolder, and we'll look forward to hearing from you again very, very soon.
Cheers. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Yvonne Alfla, driving for RAG Esports and GTW RAG Female Racing. This is the lap guide for the SimGrid More Female Races Round 5 at Zolder. For the first turn I go to third gear, let the car roll and try to go early and easy on the throttle. The second turn, the Sterrenwachtbocht, go in second gear and go early on the throttle. The Kanaalbocht here is full throttle, going on to turn 4, the Lucien Bianchi bocht in third gear and try to have a good exit here. The turn 5 is the Kleine Chicane, translation to English little chicane. Go to second gear, go over the curbs and try not to die. Then we're going to Butten. On our way to the Terlanenbocht, go to first gear, cut here and here, go early on the throttle to second, lift a little bit, and then it's full throttle to turn 8, the Bolderberg Haarspelbocht. Go to first gear, and then we're going to the Jochen Ringbocht, full throttle to the last corner, the Jackie X bocht. In first gear, go to second, and then we're going to the finish line. This was a lap at Zolder. Wish all the drivers good luck. and see you all next time.
So a huge thank you to Denise Pope for taking the time out today to have a quick chat with us, and a huge thank you to Yvonne for giving us that awesome hot lap there. Now, obviously, Laura, a very, very important round of the championship. And actually, just while I've remembered, ladies and gentlemen, head over and get yourself voting for next fortnight's final track. It is a public vote that ends in 25 minutes' time. So I thought I'd better mention that immediately. Choose from the final round out of Ilton Park, Snetterton and Donington Park. Laura, firstly, huge race for the championship, and secondly, out of those three tracks, what one would you choose?
I've already picked my vote, and it goes to Donington Park because I've raced there as well. This was my first one in iRacing. I literally was just yelling at this track, but actually I liked it in the end. So Alton Park is a quit too narrow, and I mean, yeah, we heard it as well from Denise. She's not in favor of Snetterton. Neither I do, so hopefully it's Donington Park.
Well, fingers crossed, we will soon see. Head over and go and pop your vote in, and we will do our best to get the one that you want on. Right, let's turn our attention to Zolder tonight. As I said, a very important round for the championship. Nearly all of the championships, Laura, split by between 10 and 20 points. So tonight could actually decide some of these titles here.
Yeah, exactly. And if we want to check out how the teams have performed so far, we look at the M category. I mean, they're literally a few points away, as you pointed out. So Team Cake, Angel Cake is in the lead already with Sarah Fair and Mikko Lepala today. They have Relish Racing in the second place behind them with Cosmo Marsh and Team Wright with Annalise Wright and the McKeon. So they are all close together for this one. And if we look at the Pro M category, it's also quite clear that there are still some points to get. Also 7 points are with Turn 1 Racing, who are in second place, Hedda Rangseder and Charles Solbeck, following the first place Luna Lera and Elisa Andriani, Wojciech Pavlicek, and the third one is Hita Racing with Charlotte Robertson and Yannick Kalka this time. So they are pretty far off, to be honest, but the first two still have the chance to get for it, and the rest you can read from the things. And also what we just want to check out is the silver class. Still there's this also, like, as you can see, GTWR RHG. This is the name you have to mention down because they're all over the place, and we have the 7-7 with Sophia Unwin, Matt Mirhart quite up in the front, and the rest is following them with Esmeralda Vandenalt and Stefan Graffet as Tia Mosante, and Mark Lewis are in third place. And if we look at the last one, which is Pro category, also, of course, who else is 177 in the lead with Sarah Doff, Andrea Capoccia, and then we have Griffex Engineering. Alu Gobi is following them. She had quite a run with Harry Phillips, the last one. And last but not least, Ivan Anhufala, who we heard today, were in third place with Chris Hartsfeld for the championship. They're a bit far off. Maybe they can score some points today, but it is quite close, and we see a lot of teammates are on the track, and we soon as well heading down to the qualification. And yeah, it was a race last time in Silverstone, and let's look for what we can expect here. I mean, they're tricky corners, David, so what are your predictions? I mean, we normally have not to call it out, but what do you think?
I think the legend precedes it, unfortunately, here at Zolder. It's a lot of heavy braking zones, a lot of corners immediately after those heavy braking zones. It lends itself to being a very difficult track to be competitive on in large numbers. So I think that we're going to see some fun and games tonight. But I mean, I think it's going to be a lot better. I think that they're going to have learned quite a lot of lessons throughout the season. They know what drivers they feel comfortable racing alongside, what drivers maybe they want to give a little bit of extra room to. So I think there'll be a lot learned through the season. But one question I wanted to ask you as well, Laura, GTWR RHG, it's an incredible outfit. They've got, 5 entries into this series, and 4 of them take up the top 4 slots in silver class, and obviously leading the way in the pro class. I mean, what can you say about them? It's just been a fantastic run for them.
Yeah, exactly. And when you look at the names, I mean, they have already participated in the last rounds and in the last seasons actually, and they are all well prepared and training together. This is what I hear from Yvonne as well. She's also then kind of responsible for taking the training sessions and mapping everyone together, besides several others taking different positions additionally besides driving in their team structure. So which is really nice, because then you can benefit from having so many names on the plate. And I like that they really try to push as much as they can in different categories, because then they can show off of how good they are, and some can step up, or maybe they get even new joiners. And this is what also Sarah mentioned, Denise mentioned. It's quite important that you get more females into the sport, and some even might not recognize what's possible. And there there's the chance to say, well, I'm unexperienced, I'm starting newly, then just start in the AM category, which is fine. And then you can progress. If you have a team running in different classes, which is easy, then you can step up and have help from the team. I mean, this is key.
Yeah, it certainly is. Just to remind you of the qualifying procedure, we have our first qualifying session just now. It's a 120-minute session, but it's split into two 10-minute sessions. So out just now is the AMs and the Pro-Ams just now. So the bottom two ranked groups are out together. Then we move on to the pros and the silvers. Obviously, we've seen some incredible times here, but given that we're right at the end of the season now, just 2 races left to go on a track that is still up in the air up until about 15 minutes from now, Laura, how important do you think our first qualify or our second last qualifying session is?
Yeah, it's definitely key, because then you have less stress to really get away from the pack, because if you're in the midfield, this will be a bit of chaotic. If there is 1 or 2 running off wide and we have a spin-off, especially when we look at the first corner. I mean, this is flat out, and then you come directly into the left-hander. Normally some go wide and directly into the gravel, and this is not even getting better if you come to the second and third chicane, the Kanalbocht. There we had not so many issues, but the fourth corner, I mean, I don't know what's happening with this corner, but we had so many runoffs as well to the left-hand side with Illusion Bianchi Bocht. And then they come into the small chicane, which is turn 5. This is also insane, because the curbs are pretty high. Cars are unstable on that side if you just really run off for the first one and don't get the second one. Yeah, and then of course turn 7 and 8 and 9, yeah, it's the same story. And if you hit into the Jackie X box, the last one before the actual pit lane, also we sometimes see that you just be too late on the brakes, you just miss the apex, or you go wide and then be on the curb. And especially when we have such a big grid, they always try to make their points in the first corner, and also even in the first lap. Actually, we still have some time, because we have, as you also said last time, I mean, this is clear. We have the ladies starting, and then still 3 20-minute stints, so there is time to do that. But literally, everyone is on their, let's say, hot lapping kind of procedures, and they don't see this as a real endurance race where you might not win the first race or win the race in the first corner. So I hope that at least, let's say, the first 10 positions can progress, and that we don't see so many spin-offs, and they give each other space. That's important.
Yeah, for sure. 3 minutes 45 left to go in qualifying then. Cosmo Marsh currently at the top of the times there, 131.712 from Sarah Fair in the 139 Team Cake Angel Cake outfit with a 131.792. Both of them, of course, in the AM category as well. And a faster lap there for Annalise Riot there, puts herself up into 3rd position for the 187. So the AMs up into 2nd, 3rd and 4th, because Charlotte Robertson now says no thank you very much, and takes that pole position away, 131.527 for the number 11 Heated Racing. And crucially, I mean, that is a big pole position to take as it stands right now, because they're down in 3rd place with Turn 1 Racing's 102 of Hedda Rangsetter down in 5th position just now, and the 205 underneath them. So as it stands, I mean, 2 3/4 minutes left to go, Laura. We really need to see some of these teams getting a move on here.
Yeah, and especially I was wondering, I mean, yeah, every driver has a specific track they like, but Sarah Fair is probably not happy about the third place or the second place now in the AM category because she's quite strong anyways. But yeah, Cosmo Marsh trained a bit, trained a lot. I mean, they're close to each other, so maybe there's still the chance. And yeah, great to see that they are already then as good as the Pro-Am categories in terms of timing. So this is also always interesting. Sometimes we really have to say they are not even Ams, to be honest. And they have to definitely get a better category next year. But yeah, I think they have not so many times to just get it up. But I think maybe also it's a kind of a tactic to stay out of the pack. And hopefully then, yeah, let's see what's gonna happen then for the race start for them, no matter where they are on track. It's, yeah, depending on the lap time, but yeah, hopefully that gives them a good position not to have a problem in the corners, especially turn number 1.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just looking at these qualifying times. The fact that 102 is still ahead of the 205 as Cosmo Marsh decides to take up a little bit of beachcombing there down in the gravel halfway through the circuit. I think that was actually down in turn 2 or turn 3 there, the right-hander, but gets back on it. So that's going to be a lap scrubbed. And to be honest, that might be qualifying done because there's no way that Cosmo will get back in. The rear wheel clips in, and that is good. Now, oh my goodness me. We don't like to see that as Elisa Indriani is wondering what on earth just happened there. In fact, keeps going on though, so that's good to see. So, Charlotte Robertson in pole position for the number 11 Haytod racing machine, and I'm going to be honest with you, this could be completely a massive turn of events if that 102 is ahead on position of the 205. Laura, because again in the championship, I mean that is first and second place together, and then we look at the AM standings and the two of Realish Racing, who is behind by 11 points over the 139. Again, they're in front for qualifying. It could all turn on its head.
Yeah. Let's see what the Pro-Am and the Silver class, the Pro class and the Silver class are turning out to be. Maybe the showstopper for some. As we also have seen that some Silver class runners not even get the time, because that's what I also wanted to mention earlier. Not everybody likes that track, and that's why, depending also on the time of trainings they had, it can be still a good thing to just hold your horses in qualification and then try to sneak in the race, because what we also see, if there's a clever strategy, you can still make a good race result in the end if you have another strategy than the rest. So maybe that plays out and you don't have to so much stress out on a good lap, because we see the traffic is quite intense in some of the corners.
Absolutely is. So that would appear to be qualifying done and dusted for the AMs and the for the AMs and the Pro-Ams as well. It's the Pros and the Silvers out on track just now, and very, very curious to see what this is going to throw up, because as Laura was alluding to there, just because they've got the Pro in the title doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to qualify ahead of the Silvers. Certainly we haven't seen a Silver, I believe, in the top 4 for the past couple of races in qualifying, but certainly some very, very good performances nonetheless from that Silver class. Sophia Ronwin, I remember, was a stellar outfit in qualifying for the last couple of rounds, so we'll keep our eyes out on that as we give them a minute or two to get the tyres up to temperature and to get the laps started. But Laura, obviously Zolder, a track that really tests the drivers to their absolute limit. It's got a perfect mix of high speed corners, some really tight, slow, twisty, technical turns, and really there's not going to be too much for the drivers to moan about tonight, because it's all up to them.
Yeah, it's clearly a driver's track, and there is no room for mistakes. I mean, you see what we're going down now into the kleine chicane, and this is exactly the thing where we mentioned before. This is a huge jump on top of the curbs, and I mean the Ferrari, okay, they did it quite nicely in that sense, but now this is also key that when we run off into the chicane, then there. That you just don't cut it off, because this is also the track limit situation, which we then get some penalties, hopefully not coming in. Here you have just a nice flow of the track, and then we just come back down from turn 7 until turn 8. This is a quite tight corner, and some try to overtake at this point. You can, if you just outbrake your opponent and you just try to trick them, then sometimes this could be a good overtaking opportunity also down here. When you just have the chance to do that. But this is also key that you get a good braking point into GKX Sport and then just go back on track. This is track position and not mistakes, because if you hit the wall, then this is a massive crash and there are no runoff areas as much as we normally need them to. And this could mean that some, if they really have a heavy crash, gain no points, because repair time insane, and maybe sometimes also they have to give up.
I'm sorry, what just happened there? Alou Gobi, 2.5 seconds ahead of the entire Pro-Am field there, and about a second ahead of everyone else in Pro and Silver so far just now. That is absolutely nuts, Laura, to do that on the first lap. I mean, we talk about shots across the bow or warning shots or whatever, but that is ridiculous pace on the very first lap.
What we have seen from Alou, she's really good in qualification. There is this everything around. She is directly on spot and uses the best situation with their fresh tires. So I mean, this is what you sometimes are good at, some are not, and then they try to be better in the race. But Alou is really strong in qualification, which I didn't doubt that she will be in the first run. But Natalie Lee also quite good, and you see how close they are always together from the 2nd until the 7th place right now, and there will be some others getting a little bit further up with the 130s, which we see then. So pretty strong grid. I didn't expect that actually to be together, and let's see. I mean, this is pretty amazing what they do, and she just beat herself.
Oh come on, 128.5. That is ridiculous pace. Mia Svensson puts it on the first row as well with a 129.1 in that number 3 machine for Intruder Racing Team. However, crucially, Alou Gobi in pole position, the title contender. Your your first place in the championship, the number 177, down in 9th position. Sarah Moore coming across the line to jump up into 7th place there for the 26 machine of Wild Things Racing. Of course, we spoke to Denise Pope. You saw the interview earlier on, and Sarah Dove up into 3rd position. All eyes, though, really, we have to keep an eye on that 177 car. So Sarah Dove up into 3rd place, but Laura, that's not where ideally she'd want to be. She'd either want to be a pole or on that front row of the grid.
Yeah, sometimes if you are on the 3rd place, I mean, you're directly behind position 1 and you are on the outside, which can be good. But I think that still we have some chances for, because if there are no yellow zones, that we have the chance to get another time in from her. Natalie Lee, we are following at the moment, also quite strong in quali, and let's see how she is performing when she comes down the straight, and she's also quite quick. But let's see let's see in general how good actually the timings were. And now she's up in 4th place from the Pro M and the M category, because still some silvers didn't get to pass them at this stage, but they still also have some chances left. And Celine Witcher, there is just a cone lying mid of the corner. Celine is also hopefully getting some more chances to get further up in the positions and in the ranks, but I think that what we can say from now, they are all pretty strong, and as we didn't predict it in the last race, I think they, as it is the second last round, will try to make moves in the first round.
Yes. Turn 1, it's all going to be done and dusted by turn 1. I can absolutely guarantee you of that one. Now would be a perfect time with 3 minutes left to go, ladies and gentlemen, to get that popcorn into the microwave. You're going to have just enough time to get back with a nice tasty bowl for this race ahead. As it stands, Alou Gobi in pole position, 0.5 of a second over Sarah Duff, who now moves in to second place. So that is your title contenders for the pro class. Into the silver class then, Natalie Lee taking pole position in that 103 car. Turn 1 machine down in 5th place in the championship. Pole position for that silver class in their 4th position overall, followed by the 101 of Celine Witcher. Where on earth though are the GTWR outfits? Because the first one is Sophia Ronwin. That is your championship leader for the silver class, currently down 3rd in silver, 6th place overall. And then you have to look to number 15 of Esmeralda van der Nald, down in 8th position overall and 4th place in silver. But here comes Sophie then out of the final chicane. It looks like it's a smooth lap here, 0.3 up from just now. Going to still move up a position, but it's still not at the front of silver class, and we know that Sophie Laura is more than capable of putting that car there.
Yeah, definitely she is, and also is Althea Book quite not happy probably with her 11th place, and Ava de Andrade also might need to get further up, and we are looking at Laura Valenska here and jumping back then to Althea. Yeah, they're normally quite early up in their positions, and I'm wondering if it's just the flavor of the track which is not happening and helping them at the moment, but I would not put too much effort on it right now, because we still have only 1 minute left, and if you just can get it, that's fine. But if you try to stay away from everybody else around you, then in this kind of tricky traffic from position 10 onwards, then this should be fine. But she managed to at least get 2 positions up, which is now 9th place for her. That's perfect, and she put Beata Boczenska on the 10th place. And yeah, let's see what Maria Kryszkova can do in the 15th place right now in her silver class car, number 14.
Well, let's have a look then, because down in currently in 15th place, 2.3 seconds off of the pace here. The spread tonight then so far 4 seconds from your current pole sitter of Alou Gobi, who, as pointed out on YouTube by Vive95, Alou Gobi in a class of her own as always, and it's difficult to argue with you on that comment, because again, Gobi just putting in an amazing effort here. But down to Melissa Taplin, 4.1 seconds as Maria Krychkova takes 1 position up there, puts herself into 14th position. We've got 10 seconds left on the clock, but a multiple of laps still going on. Sarah Dove has chipped away at that gap as well there, Laura. Now just 0.3 of a second, 128.872 there. And yeah, this is going to be a very interesting one to see how this qualifying session ends up.
Yeah, but Esmeralda van der Nald, she's now actually jumping to the 6th place, which is good for her as well, with the number 15 car, and then also Celine Witcher in 7th, better than before in 11th place, and yeah, Sophia Onren there, as we probably wanted her to be. Yeah, qualification is over, and I think that also Ava de Andrade in 11th place and Althea Book. I mean, this is so close together. They always try to bite each other's off in terms of timing. And it's great that they at least are all on the same level, as we also said, and getting a closer level together. And this is nice to see.
Well, here we go then. Zolder for the final round. Sorry, for the penultimate round. I was getting a little bit carried away then, Laura. Sorry about that. Penultimate round of season 4 of More Female Racers. David Christie and Laura Luft in the virtual commentary box with you. We want to hear, guys and girls out there, who you think is going to take the win tonight. Get in touch with us on YouTube. Go and leave a comment below, and if we can get to them, we will have a little chat with you guys. Alou Gobi, you're kidding me. On a faster lap again? No way has that just happened. 128.367, 4/10 of a second ahead of Sarah Dove. That is absolute domination from that. And just as I said, Laura, Sophia Ronwin capable of taking the lead in that silver class. Does it right at the last gasp. Huge thank you to our production team for pointing that out. 129.4 for Sophia Ronwin, and that is Lou Gobi's 4th pole position. And one thing you pointed out, Laura, is that she's good at getting pole positions, but that very rarely translates into a good performance in the race, because that's only once out of the 4 times that she's taken a race win out of those pole positions.
Now, sometimes it's the problem actually when you just try to start from pole and then you are under pressure for sure. But literally when we see her recovery race last time in Silverstone, I mean, this was great to see. And I guess she needs to just calm down and just try not to look into the back mirrors, because that could be kind of frightening in that sense. And what Yvonne just posted in the chat, she drove all the laps invalid. Oh, damn. This is also the thing what is key, because as we said, if you get also off tracks quite clear, and this is famous for Zolder, Yvonne, I guess you know what we have been swearing together on on TeamSpeak last time when we drove there on another sim. This was actually a nightmare, so she knows how to cope with this. But yeah, it's key then to just get a clear one out, but still there's the chance to get in a routine and also to get in the flow. This is important. You have to have a flow for this track.
So here's the big $1 million question, Laura. Turn 1. What on earth are we going to see at Erst?
Should I be honest or should I be optimistic? let's put it...
Both. Let's see both. What's your optimistic?
Okay, my hope is that as this turn 1 is pretty wide, you still have the chance to drive with 3 or 4 cars if you manage side by side into turn 1. But I think that due to the depending on how you just manage with your brakes and tires in terms of temperature, I think that we might see in the latest positions from, let's say, place 15, 2 or 3 cars spinning. That's not what I hope for, but maybe that what we'll see. What's your thoughts on this?
All I'm going to say is that I get the feeling that I'm going to be very busy on YouTube in the next 5 minutes, calming people down. That's yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I'm just thinking back to one of the first seasons I did with more female racers, and Zolder was a really difficult race. We had a car pushed off onto the grass into turn 1, ended up causing huge collision. And it's really difficult because we obviously overlook the fact that it's a difficult track, Laura, regardless of your ability, your skill level. And for these drivers, you know, with so much risk and so much at stake for the end of the season, I think this is a very different position to any other season we've had Zolder in, because it's usually been quite early on in the season. I think we're going to get chaos into turn 1, but it's not going to be at the front, because the pro class, I think they know how to handle themselves. I think what you're going to see is some of the bottom end of the silvers and some of the pro-ams maybe getting a little bit optimistic, maybe getting a little bit fighty into that turn 1. Of course, what we could say is somebody just shoved off onto the grass, in which case all bets are off. But 4 minutes left to go. I'm starting to get... Well, while Laura is finding where her microphone is, we've got 3 minutes 45 left to go. Luke will be then on pole position from Sarah Dove, Mia Svensson alongside Sophia Ronwin on row 2, Natalie Lee, Esmeralda van der Waal in row 3. Row 4 is Celine Vitcher and Beata Behenska in the 4th row. Row 5 is going to be Yvonne Hoefler and Althea Book, Sarah Moore and Eva de Andrade. Row 6, you've then got Sarah Johnson and Maria Krutchkova in row 7, and then in 15th place you've got Laura Valenza alongside Roberta Leska in row 8. Row 9 is going to be Maren Edwards alongside Charlotte Robertson. Row 10 is Cosmo Marsh and Sarah Fair. Then you've got Annalise Riot alongside Heather Rangseter in row 11. Row 12 is going to be Jessica Pelletier and Alita Indriani, and at the back of the grid is going to be Melissa Taplin in 25th position. Huge battles to be settled tonight. Give you a quick reminder of how the standings are setting up as we speak. Going into this round then, GTWR RHG Female Racing, the number 1 outfit, that's the number 177 in the lead of the Pro class by just 15 points. Their main title rivals, Grip Hacks Engineering in that number 12 machine, 15 points behind. So that's the battle for Pro. Pro-Am is Luna Nera in the 205 in the lead of that one by just 7 points. Turn 1's Heather Angseter in the 102 will be looking to topple that one. Silver class is the battle of the GTWR R8G female racing outfit. Now, there are a number of contenders in this one. Still in with the outside chances is Turn 1 and the number 87 GTWR R8G female racing, but it's all about the number 77, the number 15 and the number 66 for that silver class. But don't be expecting to see too much heavy fighting from them. They are on the same team after all, as if that makes much difference. And then still in the AM category, there is still the outside chance that Team Riot Spice Cake can take the top spoils, but they need a win tonight. They need a disastrous race for their sister Angel Cake team and for Realish Racing. Team Riot Spice Cake in third with the 187 car, Realish Racing in second position with the number 2 car, and Team Cake Angel Cake in the lead of that AM Championship in the 139 car. 82 points for the 139, 71 for the number 2 team, and 69 for the 187. I believe, Laura, you're back with us just in time to go racing here at Zolder. A minute to go. Are you excited, my friends?
Yeah, I think the chat is already excited because they're all voting for Turn 1. So hopefully they will, impress. And always great to have new joiners on the chat as well. So
wait,
welcome everyone.
Hang on. Are they supporting Turn 1, or are they just thinking that's where everything's going to go wrong?
No, they support Turn 1. And actually what we can say, let's go ladies, that's also a good point for that. Let's be clean, have a great race. And I know, and this is what I wanted to mention, because when we saw Spa, this was great. Yeah, this was a smooth race. Nobody was just getting chaotic, just a few turns, but not like a heavy massacre going on. So I think that if they remind to that race, maybe we see a clean one. So let's see, because I mean, they want to finish and they want to get the points done. And the warnings came as well in the briefing. So sending is not what we want to see today, and I think the stewards are quite clear on this. So
do it.
Oh no, sending no.
I've only just noticed that photographer in the texture of the mirror on the starting gantry. Yeah, that's I'm loving that. That is an awesome picture. We've got our broadcast director Mike Yao trying to claim that it's him, and I'm pretty sure that's far too much hair to be our very own Mike Yao. But anyway, by the by, we are ready for our penultimate race here at Zolder. It's Lou Gobi has got the pace in qualifying setting. Whether or not she can break the duck and get that into another race win, which is exactly what the championship, exactly what the Pro Championship needs to very much bring it up to the final race. It's all about Grip Hacks Engineering and Lou Gobi out in front. Then you've got Sarah Dove going to try and get the better there of the number 11 team there, but I don't know. What do you think we're going to see in terms of a race winner today, Laura?
I would wish that Alo Gobi would just make it, because she deserves to have at least the win from last time, where she was kept back to the back and then fight her way up. But I wish that we also have a diversity in terms of other joiners maybe accidentally on the podium, which is good. So as you know, anything can happen, and as long as you keep your car clean, you never know, because this is exactly the question mark we have, and they're all running in different lanes here across the turn number 5. So it's sometimes always a black box. If there is really like a huge kind of chaos, then we might see a new winner, which is also good. But I think that Alu just really wants to push it now and improve the race start. But you have seen Saradov, she's waving behind. Really, her tires must be warm. So I think this will be really interesting with the first 5 just rushing down then the main straight.
Certainly will be. So the cars making their way down the back straight towards the final chicane then. And this is it. This is the penultimate race of More Female Racers Season 4. The voting is closed for our final public vote track. We'll bring you the results as soon as we can. Taking us through the race start then, over to you, Laura Luft.
Yeah, always the same double file. They're trying to not miss when Alu Gobi is pedal to the metal. Of course, clear no jump start is available, and this is really, really short that here they can see the green flag, and then we have our race start for the penultimate round, and we waiting for the seconds to count down, and then this is the racing start. Green, 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 and we see that they all go right in the back, but at least they try to make their move, and also Alu Gobi just directly cut it off the line for Saradov that there is no chance, and see they are going side by side, 5 cars, and 1, 2, that's what I said, 2 are spinning in the back, but at least also some spinning around, and then we see a massive crash coming later in the corner, which is actually the corner number 2, and they are still waiting. Mia Svensson unfortunately got hit in this kind of section. There are still some cars parked. At least they just wait until they can come back on the track, and now the track is clear again. But that's what we hoped for. At least there are, well, Silver Onvan is also then there, but she is then there, and yeah, Sophia Onvan then, they're going side by side. The huge 4 turn is again the problem, and the Silver Championship might be at risk at that time. And as we saw, the turn 4 is quite heavily because they're in the background, but it was not as massively heavily as what we expected. At least that all of them made it in halfway into turn 1. And then the chaos started a bit in the back because they were all side by side. But yeah, at least some of the they were all going wide here in this corner. Brakes, everything is flying by. That's a tricky one. If you're just trying to make position here, and at least Ryan as well in the wall. So yeah, we see, I guess, a chaotic first round, David.
Well, right, okay, so that happens. Up in the front then, Alu Gobi still in the lead over Saradov. It's in 3rd place, though, is the number 3 machine. But I honestly cannot believe the start to that race. The fact that Sophia Ronwin caught up in that is huge implications for the championship standings. Meanwhile, Sarah Moore making a move up the inside of Valenza, gets the job done into turn 1, as clean and clear as you like. That is a great move there. But in lead of the silver class now, Esmeralda van der Nald in the number 15 machine, Hederang Seter in the number 102 up into turn 1, and that's so close to contact with the Lisa Indriani just behind her there. And Charlotte Robertson, your pole sitter for Pro-Am as well, is down at the 3rd place in class as well. So Alu Gobi with a 2-second gap over Saradov, as we've got just 2 3/4 minutes gone in this race. An amazing race already, as just behind there that looked like Cosmo Marsh looking to try and get a move up the inside, or maybe that was Martin Edwards actually. We'll keep our eye on that one. There is Sarah Johnson for the 888 machine, trying to catch on to the tail end of Roberta Leska here, and those poor L signs knocked down at the side of the racetrack there, showing that what actually happened on that lap 1. But given that happened on lap 1 and we were already 3/4 into lap 2, it's a lot calmer already after that first lap.
Yeah, and this is where normally then race control has to take some action. They're still quite busy now to look at all the incidents, what we have seen so far. But it could have been messier, to be honest, and I was not expecting it to be more chaotic. So hopefully that was quite now the warning for everyone to just try to make it clean for the next round and or the next lap, so to say. And Althea Book just is now the camera car for us here, turning into the first corner. And we jump back to some off-riders here, which is the car number 14, Maria Krychkova, and we just try to check what the replay might be doing, and we look at this quite shortly. But yeah, look at what Maria Kryshkova is having now. A bit pressure off the M car. And Cosmo Marsh, look at this. I mean, the M car in 10th position, and this is amazing. I mean, this is what you can sometimes see. And Mia Svensson and Yvonne Hufvelaar just had a really bad start for their classes, putting down back to place 18 and 19. But also this could mean that if you're just trying to play it cool and avoid everything, you can be up in the M class, sitting in 10th place, being a happy camper. So great to see. And this corner now has been mastered by all of them going through. So now all the cones are cleared. They are going in a nice pearl down to this last kind of hairpin we see. And Sarah Moore, actually, yeah, who everybody knows her, of course. She's a real racer in W Series and keeps it clear most of the time, and also trying to avoid any contacts here in the sim racing world. And yeah, she's just chasing.
Yeah, she certainly is. As we move on to lap number 3, then Alu Gobi still in the lead of the race and does fastest lap 1:28.807. That is qualifying pace from Alu Gobi. That gap now 2.3 seconds in the battle for the championship here. Sarah Duff in second, Esmeralda van der Mald in third position, Celine Witcher in fourth, fifth place for Beata Behenska for the number 997 machine. Sixth place is Sarah Moore in the 26th, Laura Valenza in the 87, in 7th position Roberta Leska in 8th position, 9th place is Sarah Johnson, and 10th place is Cosmo Marsh. We have got an AM driver up in 10th position. How has that happened, Laura? That is an amazing showing from Cosmo Marsh.
Yeah, this is what I mean. If you try to stay away from everyone and maybe you find another line, sometimes it's even better to just hold your line and wait what happens, especially in turn 1. If you are on the outside, you can be dive bombed from the inside, and if you stay on the inside, you just have all the space you need, and then see cars going side by side and wide, then you have the chance to hold good positions, because they have to keep it up. And this is really clever, and this is what I try always to tend to do, is just getting out of everybody's way and not trying to be too aggressive in the first starting procedures, because this is never gonna end happily. But yeah, I think that now they have their position, and just we've seen a drive-through for the, and I mean, of course, the race control is right down there, so we have the avoidable contact for the car 888 already pointed out, and this is Johnson in the number 9's position now at this time. So I mean, yeah, this is clear that they have a look at it, and that you better not be getting a penalty.
Laura, hang on, sorry, I'm so sorry to interrupt. What has happened to Alu Gobi? She's lost the lead. She did a 1:36 that last lap and has lost the lead to Sarah Dove. The car strikes again. That is unbelievable.
Need to see the replay, what was happening there, but yeah, look at what we might have missed. But look at the replay of the start, David.
Yeah, let's have a look then. Let's try and pick the bones out of what happened here. So we can see jostling for position early on. We've got cars going left, right and centre. Oh, and it's a rear end from the 888 car there. I feel really bad for that 888 car of Sarah Johnson there. We've got more contact going on behind. That's the 77 that's almost certainly going to be get a penalty. That was Sophia Ronwin, and with Mia Svensson, the number 3 machine, that got caught up in that as well. And eesh, that is going to be horrible stuff there. Sarah Moore though in 6th place. Now very quickly on Sarah Moore before we go back to Alu Gobi and what on earth just happened there. Sarah Moore looking very comfortable behind the wheel, Laura, of that number 26 machine, and really looking like could make some big inroads here. I don't know if she'll be able to catch Celine Witcher, who's already about 2.5 seconds up the road after this battle. But I mean, that is a great start for the number 26 Wild Things Racing machine.
Definitely, and she is really constant in her driving and is trying to catch up, not too aggressively at the moment, rather following. This could also be a good technique to just see where the mistakes are and closing the gap and trying to find a good spot to overtake. But Sarah Moore, she's pretty clever and maybe gives it to the second driver then on the spot and just trying to follow behind. This is also fuel saving at this point. And we have another replay. Let's see what happened to Alu Gobi. Just a tiny little going on the curbs too wide in turn 5. This could happen and woof you go, because they are all really close together. And yeah, of course it could be a commentator's course. I just said it before.
I saw that, yeah.
But let's see what happens there. So I just try to be realistic in that sense, to be honest. But yeah, and we see the purple laps coming in, and Alu Gobi, we know that she's pushing back, and this is not a problem. And we see that the gap hopefully is then closing again, where we have kind of a traffic here with Sophia Onwin just trying to catch up and being in 15th place, a little bit caught up in traffic, trying to sneak in here. Wow, look at this, going on the inside, making a move. Pretty awesome. You just sometimes have to stick your nose in and make sure that you are there.
Huge contact. That was Mia Svensson onto Maria Krutchkova. Missed the braking point. Didn't expect Maria to brake so early and straight into the back of that car. And the second bit of contact in the space of 6 laps here. That was really poor rejoin as well from Maria Krutchkova. Wow, that is a horrible incident going into turn 1 there, Laura.
Yeah, sometimes, as we also saw last time, it really depends on what kind of setup you have. If you're just completely like stressed, and when you just turn, I can completely understand that they are trying to close up and then probably have one screen and really don't look at the track and the traffic around them. But yeah, of course, it's not a good manner in that sense. You have to really just wait until the track is clear and you have some spotters and also your teammate just looking out for this. But yeah, I know how pressure is high in this stake. But yeah, Maria is just also quite reliable in that sense that she normally is a fair driver. And let's see what Sophia is doing, following up the Cakes cars and being now back there. Sarah Moore, yeah, she's trying to overtake in the first corner, and then maybe this is the chance. They have now the opportunity to do this in turn 4 round. Maybe then if she's closing the gap to turn 5, then she has to really make a move, or the next one, and we have a drive-through penalty coming in for Sophia Onwin, and this is not good.
Yeah, that's not good indeed, and that is a drive-through for the number 77 for that avoidable contact there. You get a feeling that it's not going to be an issue with that, because Mia Svensson, you think, is going to get a drive-through as well for that contact there. And just going back to Alice Trix's comment in YouTube there, Laura, just thinking that what she's done is she's seen it and she's thrown us both under the bus there with that commentator's course. That's what's happened there. Going back to the fact that Esmeralda van der Nald is in the lead of the silver class, and that is a huge outcome, because at the moment she needs 25 points. Well, she's got 25 points because she's in the lead of her class. She needs 20, and Beta Batenska into the wall. Oh my goodness me, that did look like an unforced error. We'll check again on the replay. She has to try and reverse back into the Corsa traffic there. She's looking at her mini-map. There's cars coming here. She has to keep on the brake pedal now. No. Wait. Whoa, I don't like that at all. That, for me, was... that looked... Yeah. I'm being told in our ears by production that was okay, but my chest is telling me that was not okay, Laura.
Yeah, she had a problem with the Sarah Moore overtaking situation. She was quite maybe a bit afraid of that Sarah is just going on the inside. That's why she went wide, then she lost a bit of the rear on the gravel and on the grass, and then she was pushing with Laura Valenska, and she was also coming a bit further back on track, kind of unsafe, and then they touched each other. So yeah, I mean, this is not ideal, but yeah, that's why we say always have to check the mirrors and make sure that you don't bother anyone. But look at this sandwich now where Marianne Edwards is there. Yeah, it's nice to go with a drag race, the three of us into turn 5, but ladies, make sure that you exactly like this, find your position before turn 5, and look at the replay here for Sarah Moore overtaking Bitter Bohenska here on this lap, because she tried to read her racing line, and there she also was quite a bit farther on the second curb, and this is sometimes also cutting a bit off the track, and there she sees she's not using the track completely as she could, and Sarah Moore just tried to dive in there, which is actually a good one. As you see, the car is also a bit unstable there where there is no grippy area, and then she ran off wide and came a bit unsafe. Well, it was still okay, but then they just touched,
Okay, so that maybe wasn't an unforced error then for Beta Bohenska there. I'll maybe re-clarify that one then. That that sort of move, I think, Laura, belongs in that's close, but obviously that's a misleading angle because that's looking directly onto oncoming traffic. Oh my goodness me, 3 into a corner. I thought, oh, that's never going to work, and no, it didn't work as Ava de Andrade gets shown to the side of the road. That for me, that move through the chicane, that was reminiscent in ice hockey of what they call a hip check, Laura.
Yeah, and also that we know that the Ferrari is quite good in the gravel to drift, so maybe that's a new category we just get up. Just in case somebody was wondering, we just can also do rallycross with that car, no problem. But still she had a good catch, not ending up in the wall at least, getting out not on the pit exit there, being right in front of Beta Bohenska, so now they can both have at least a companion to just chase down, which is good. And also what we can see in the front is that Alu Gobi is 3.8 seconds behind Sarah Dorf, so she's trying to close the gap, of course, and she's fast, as we know. I like the action now on track. It's a bit kind of rubbing, but it's sometimes fair, sometimes a bit kind of touching, which is normal in a spec series. So I think that they have across the track many fights which are quite nice, also overtaking maneuvers, which we see here. So I really like that they at least try and try to gain points before we have the driver swap.
Oh my goodness me, I'm trying to catch my breath after what we've just seen at the open of this race here, but we're 10 laps in. We're rapidly approaching the end of our first 20-minute stint here. Now what that's also going to mean then, Laura, is the fact that Sarah Dov and Alu Gobi are going to switch over drivers. Now Alu Gobi hands over to Harry Phillips. He was actually slower of the two of them last time out at Silverstone. Sarah has Andrea Capoccia in for the second driver. I would argue that Andrea is a blazing fast driver and might be able to stretch that gap even more, so Alu might have her work cut out when it comes to that final stint. We'll find out in just over 20 minutes time, but as it stands, it's still Sarah Duff in the 177 GTWR R8G female racing machine out in front, second place in the leading the championship in that 177. So as it stands, extending that championship lead. It was 15 points, and it will be even more after tonight. Remember, 25 points for a race win here. So again, it's really they have to get the best result that they can tonight, because anything else, 21 points is not quite 25, and it makes it all that much more difficult when we come into that final round, Laura.
And it's definitely true, and points are key, but still, I think that depending on the strategy-wise, they can do the undercut or overcut. So let's see how this is. And we have DNF out of the race.
That's Mia Svensson.
Mia Svensson,
number 3. Yeah, that's exactly my thoughts. That exasperated gasp of, that's such a shame. Obviously, that early contact with Sophia Ronwin puts damage on the car. They've tried to get it fixed up, and it's not been able to be repaired in time. But we're watching picture here. We're seeing the first of the pit stops. Clever move there by Yvonne Houfla in the 150 machine, getting into the pits now. One of the first drivers to swap out into the second co-driver, and hopefully try and make their way back up into potentially the top 10. But Sarah Dove and Ulu Gobi, you're going to have to insert your generic shark movie theme tune in here, because that gap is coming down and down and down. Alterbic moves into pit lane then. That gap now just under 2 seconds. Can Ulu Gobi get this on track? If it's me, Laura, if I'm Sarah Dove, I'm into the pits right now. I want to get Andrea Capoccia in the car and then get that out of the way and get into some hopefully clear air.
Yeah, that would be true, but as we see, the chat is also cheering for Alu. I mean, sometimes you also want to race it on the track, but let's see what the strategy will be there, because, I mean, Sarah Dove is not that slow, but yeah, it could be a thing, and now she's having a gap with 2 seconds, so she's trying to push again, so she's still faster at this point as Alu, and also the traffic coming up for Alu, and quite of a last minute catch for Sarah Dove, just getting there into the pit lane. I mean, this was really a good dive bomb there, where she just started really late to just come into the pits. Was really good, and that's what I call about the strategy-wise that we talked about before, right? So this is exactly what I mean. You have to be clever in the strategy, and also your teammate has to just get it done.
Yeah, really does have to get it done. So Ulu Gobi now takes the lead of this race. That last lap was a slower one though, 1:29.5. I wonder if there was either a little moment halfway around the track there. We've got a yellow flag in the middle of the track as the number 66 appeared to disappear halfway through the track there, but Alterbic just coming out of pit lane there. So Ulu Gobi in the lead of this race. Celine Witcher, I would imagine, is going to move up into provisional second place, but obviously that is all going to be irrelevant because that will all change when the pit stop cycle round. So Sarah Dove swaps over and Andrea Capoccia jumps into the hot seat of the 177 GTWR R8G female racing machine with a big weight on his shoulders, knowing that the championship lead is in his hands going into this final race. Ulu Gobi currently trying to undo all of the damage that has been done by the start of that race. It was looking so promising, but the Ulu Gobi curse strikes again as Capoccia comes out of pit lane and into the firing line of some cars further down the order. But 40 minutes left to go in this race, Laura, as Ulu Gobi into the pits then. The first 20 minutes of this penultimate race of the season, I mean, what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, besides what we talked about at the start, where we had, of course, this kind of incidents which we expected somehow, but didn't actually want it to happen, then they just sorted it out in lap 2. I mean, there it was just kind of clear, some tiny mistakes there and there, but actually not a big deal, to be honest, and now they're driving clean. So this is so interesting. I mean, probably we have to do some more start trainings, because you don't win the race at the start, and this is what we can say for Mia Svensson. This is horrible that she can have actually not finish, because that's what I meant. If the damage is too heavy, then there is no chance to finish, and this is so key here to get at least some points. And sometimes you just have your if you say, okay, I'm not the best starter, or I'm too nervous at the start, find a routine to calm yourself down. This is what I normally do. Is sometimes, especially in sim racing, this is so weird, because in real racing I'm never nervous at the start, which is funny. But in sim racing I'm completely freaking out. In my first races I was like literally barely breathing, because you feel the pressure and it can go everything wrong because you can't control the simulation. And in real race you still have a chance to do this, but we see some penalties coming in. Speeding, SG 30, this is not good for Sophia Onren. This is also the thing, right? You just have to keep your head down and not messing up in the pit lane, speeding, entry, and you see it's coming in. Laura,
I'm excited. Look at the leaderboard. Harry Phillips, Ulu Gobi with the monster of in-laps has done the jump over the 177. 4 seconds is now the gap for Harry Phillips. That is a stonking in-lap there. Wow, the lead changes then. The 12 goes ahead of Andrea Capoccia. So that is an amazing pit stop and in-lap then for Ulu Gobi. Hands it over to Harry Phillips. This championship has just been lit on fire right now, Laura.
Yeah, Lou was pushing really hard with the 129 when she came in and handed over the car, and this was key because sometimes this is what I meant. It can not always work out to have an undercut, but in that sense it was the overcut which played out quite well. This is the strategy what we really like to see, that they think about it be first hand and also try to see where is the gap on track where you can come out. And now we have Oscar in the car in turn 1. This is where everybody was cheering for before, and also great to see that many are giving a thumbs up for the power girls here, definitely. And Oscar is also now with the 101 chasing and trying to close the gap, but it's pretty good, and it's a good one, and then they had a good result as well. So let's see what he's pulling together. I mean, he's also a brilliant driver. I know him from the Notschleife, so that's quite good to see that he was also exactly starting the season 2, I guess, with was it where they participated with partners all around, which was great to see that he's coming back now in season 4, and great that the second drivers are also now pedal to the metal flat out across the leaderboard.
Yeah, this is going to be a straight up dogfight between your two leaders in the pro class. On to the silver class then. Oscar Sandberg takes the lead in that 101 for Turn 1 Magnum Racing, currently in 6th position in the championship, ahead of the number 15 GTWR R8G Female Racing Emerald machine, who is way ahead of the 77. Now this is a monumental outcome for the Silver Championship, because Matt Muirhead there down in what could only appear to be 10th or 11th place in Silver, that's a huge loss in points there. That almost certainly is going to hand over the championship lead, I would imagine, to the number 15 GTWR R8G Female Racing Emerald team that are currently in 2nd place. So going into the final round, again, it's not going to be all that much of a points difference between them, and crucially I think as well, it might even keep the number 66 hopes alive going into that final round as well, because they're currently 36 points behind, and if they get enough points to keep them to 25, then we'll maybe see how that one pans out. Moving down to Pro-Am class then, and in the Pro-Ams it's the 205 machine of Luna Nera who is in the lead there. That's Elita Indriana and Vojta Pavlicek. If they win this tonight, they are in a almost certain position to take the championship. Because of the fact that they will be currently 7 points ahead just now, and obviously only with the 25 points available next week, next fortnight. Again, I think that puts them out of touch for the number 102, because they're down in 3rd place in that championship just now. So we'll have a look in that one. Let's have a look at the AM class. Team Cake, the 139 machine, currently in the lead of the championship, and that is all up in air right now, because the 139 is currently being beaten by Cosmo Marsh on their own in the number 2 for Realish Racing. So some huge points there tonight for that one, and Laura, I mean, some huge championship implications now.
Yeah, definitely, and this is great to see, because Cosmo is really super strong. It's in a sense, but I mean, 3 points will be the lead then for Team Cake. Angel Cake still there into the final round, but great drive from Cosmo, brilliant. I can say, just being up in 9th position, this is what we mentioned, this is insane. And Sebastian Händler now just using the flashlights to get away from Rere in front of him. This is also good, really close. And also what we have seen, that the penalty for the number 11's car is not the best situation, because they're actually 2nd in their class right now. But let's see how they can manage to at least stay there, because the others are lapped quite strong. And also Charles Solbeck comes now into the pit lane for in 3rd position for the Pro-Am category. Yeah, and Sebastian Händler, he has to go, and he also only knows one way, it just is forward and trying to find a spot where he can overtake his rivalry in the front, which is the 997 car.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I don't know if you've ever had this moment, Laura, but do you know when your brain just shuts down and it just doesn't work properly? So when I'm going through the championship standings, I've got our production team in my ear gently trying to remind me that the Pro-Ams can't actually be sealed tonight. And for some reason, oh my goodness me, it's contact between Josie Austin and Cosmo Marsh through the chicane there, late on the brakes, and Josie Austin has to back out of it, loses at least one place to the 205 behind her. So yeah, I'm going through the standings, and production are like, it can't be settled tonight, and I'm like, but they're like 25 points ahead, and of course they're only actually 7 points ahead. So yeah, it's still well and truly in the ballpark for the final round. A production team try to point out that they're always right, Laura, but I don't always believe that's the case. Do you?
The good thing is that the math guys are not. It's not me, so definitely I'm bad at points calculations, so I don't want to actually be then on the commentary course again. So that's why I'm happy that you just sort it out in the back, and we can just focus on the fun race, because actually what we want to see is everybody's going like in Formula One with equal points into the last round. This is where it is then key to make the moves, and Josie Austin was really trying to push in there, where we just see some, it was Pavlicek going a bit sideways. But yeah, Cosmo Marsh still want to hold the position, which is giving points in 10th place, but Josie Austin has something against it now, just trying to wave back and forth. This is interesting because in the back, Pavlicek and Vera and also Sebastian Handler are coming. Look at this kind of pack is actually behind Cosmo Marsh. This will be so interesting, because calling all of the gaps now and trying to make positions. And now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cars really in the fight for top 10. Great.
Yeah, certainly is. And I've got to be honest, this is a turn up for the books, because Harry Phillips now starting to open up that gas pedal stretch lead now at the front of this field, as we've got 4.8 seconds going on. Oh my goodness me, this is a proper traffic jam we've got going on now. Cosmo Marsh, Josie Austin. Josie sends it up the inside. Cosmo got nowhere to go. That was always going to happen. Shown to the outside. That allows Pavlicek in the 205 to get ahead as well. Is Earl Verwey going to try and move up through the position as well? This is a huge fight going on right now. All coming streaming into the final chicane right now. Josie Austin gets the position, but look at Pavlicek up the inside. They're going to be side by side coming down to the line here, and this is an absolute scrap and a half. Cosmo Marsh has been left for dead coming into turn 1 here. Last of the late breakers, everyone somehow gets going through. We've got a car going off into the gravel. That's Cosmo Marsh, and that is the biggest robbery I have ever seen in my life. Cosmo Marsh has managed to rob themselves of about 6 places there. I've got no idea how that has just happened, and I think Cosmo is going to be kicking themselves after that.
Yeah, but what a great drive. We have seen literally no contact between those drivers going down side by side into turn 1, even close in a double file, and they managed to do it. So this is why I don't get it, why this happens not at the start, because this is really amazing of what we see right now with these drivers still chasing each other, and not someone is driving really away from them. So we still have the fight going on for position number 10, and this is brilliant to see that they always try to find a gap. And Chris Hartfeld as well, and Errol Rary is just still with Hot and Spicy there in the position, hopefully to just get some points. Really nail biting right now.
What is going on with Andrea Capoccia? That gap has just absolutely exploded. It was about 3.5 seconds to 4 seconds, and it's now up to 7 seconds there. So Capoccia, I can't see any real traffic around him. I've just been told, so he was actually in the middle of this entire gaggle of cars there. So, and late up the brakes into the inside there. Errol Verwey tries to take a chunk out of the cake of Josie Austin. Thankfully, the Team Cake car survives. Look at that, round the outside. Chris Hartfeld in there as well. And Sebastian Handler fancies having a go at this. This is fantastic. As you said, Laura, fantastic racing here. Very clean, very precise, and very clinical.
Yeah, this is also the time where you want to get out of the car, because actually that makes fun. And look at this, they go into the 5th chicane side by side, and they managed to do this. And out on the outside, on the gravel here, really on the line, they're just racing each other really, really hard, going 3 wide hopefully in there. I mean, this is like crazy, but they manage. And then this is what we want to see, that they have at least fun on track. And there, actually, you don't want to be called into the pit lane, because this is where it makes no really fun. Although it just really goes on the grass and in the gravel, they don't care. They're flying by. This is awesome.
This is nuts is what it is. Right, so we have lapped up into 8th position, believe it or not. Just going a lap down. Chiara Camariano at the moment in the 90 car. Harry Phillips is on insane pace, 1:28.6, as we've still got huge battles going on. We've got a 10-second penalty for Tony McCoffin in the number 18 machine. They're switching side by side on the run down to turn 1. You've got 2 battles here. Josie Austin still trying to fend off Earl Verwey. Then you've got Sebastian Handler and Chris Hartfeld. We've got a car going off into the gravel there. Josie Austin, though, is doing a masterclass, an absolute masterclass in defensive driving here. Earl Verwey tries to get the inside. It's going to be the inside for the next corner as well. So Earl Verwey takes the position from Josie Austin. Josie Austin now into the big, hungry jaws of Sebastian Handler as well. 3 wide down the straight here. There's contact! Off goes. That is the 205, isn't it? Of Pavlicek that gets hit. Sorry, excuse me. That was Sebastian Handler that goes off there, Laura. And that was utterly inevitable.
Yeah, I just saw it. I didn't want to see it coming, but there were really the 3 of them side by side. This is not going to work. I mean, with 2 we see that's possible, but 3 wide into turn 5, at one point there is actually no space for everyone. And unfortunately for Sebastian, this was being kicked out for him then in that sense. But still they are in 2 packs together and not far away. Still 5 actually can chase for position 12. I mean, Chris Hartfeld there, Josie Austin, and Pavlicek and Handler again closing the gap. So and Cosmo Marsh always maybe is a bit further away, but if they just do this for the next laps and Cosmo has the chance to close up, then we have another gap here. And they're going again here. Chris Hartfeld, good move in the turn 1 corner. Just great what they just, at least a little bit of rubbing is fine. But they just don't give it up.
I'm not sure that was rubbing. I think that was more of a boot up the backside of Chris Hartfeld. It's like, yeah, on you go, son. Right, let's have a replay then. This is the 3 wide, and this is going to be Sebastian Handler getting thrown into the wall here. I don't know if he did. No, I actually think that was his own. Yeah, he had 2 wheels on the grass there. That pitched him into the car in the side, and then it bounced him off. So, unfortunately, that's all on Sebastian Handler for me on that one there, Laura.
Yeah, exactly. What we had the chance now to look at it, this was the right side. But yeah, at least he has no other contacts with the rest, because that would be a huge crash if he just not managed to be at the wall and then trying to take 2 others out. But at least his car has not a huge damage, because he's still flying and trying really to just get back there. And we just see the penalty coming in, which we have already mentioned, for the number 18 now on the left hand side. And then let's see what's happened here with Mark Lewis trying to beat up Denise Pope. She said she's not really in favor of Zolder. She also might not, I mean, it's a nice track, but still it's a tricky one. That's what she said. Let's see how she can handle this one off, because it's getting tight. But we are again in Sebastian Handler's position to try chasing down Josie Austin, and flashlights are quite popular, as I see. And Chris Hartfeld got a drive-through.
That is brutal for Chris Hartfeld there then. And that was, I wasn't going to say that was straight on there, but that was into the pit lane. I believe that was for the number 15 machine of Stéphane Griffet into the pits. And can you believe that is our second stint of 20 minutes done and dusted? That flew by in the blink of an eye, Laura. That was just sensational action.
Yeah, actually I like this even better than Spa, to be honest, because it has more more spicy, as we also say, hot and spicy on the chat. Actually, there was a lot of action on the track and good fights, and hopefully also we see that for the third round when the driver swap is coming in again. And as we see, I mean, we have nearly 20 minutes left. I'm sure they try to stretch it as much as they probably can. And here, kind of a ditch from Josie Austin, where Sebastian Handler passed her by. But yeah, I think that we might see. Ooh, Mark Lewis just lost it because he didn't want to bump into Denise Pope there and gone wide into turn 5. Now he has to close the gap again. But yeah, at least avoidable contact here on that side. Bravo, that's what we can say. And look at the others. They are all, and this is what it's so interesting. Now, I didn't expect that we have so many close fights with 2 or 3 cars together, even in a second stint, David.
Yeah, and this is what makes it absolutely tantalising with just 20 minutes left to go in the penultimate race of the season. Remember, the final race was to be decided by a public vote. The votes are in, they're counted, they're verified. We'll be revealing the results at the end of the show tonight. I'm very, very excited to spill the beans on this one, probably because it's the first time in my life that I've actually known something ahead of everyone else, Laura. So it's nice to be ahead of the curve for a change. Tom Shipson, though, in the Renetta Racing number 14 machine, currently down in P19. He's in the silver class as well, trying to catch on to the back of Kalka in that number 11. But back to the leads, and again, Harry Phillips out front, in charge. And it looks like Andrea Capoccia changed back into the car, put Sarah Dove back in for the final stint, final 20 minutes. Do we think that this is done and dusted for Lou Gobi?
Let's see if there's a chance, because the gap was 16 seconds, as I'm not mistaken, between them when they changed. If Alu is really, if they keep it cool and if the traffic is not too maniac, which we haven't seen so far, was quite nice with blue flags. Everybody just did not ignore it. So I think this could be a good way of it. But Sarah Dove, she also has to manage through the traffic. I don't know if that was a try for the undercut, maybe, but let's see where they are back on track, and maybe also the chance for pushing now. Yeah, it will be interesting. It's now the key time. It's hammer time, as we want to say it, right?
It certainly is. So looking forward to this, to watch out how this all develops over the next 20 minutes or so. This is going to be a thrilling end to the race here at Zolder. Harry Phillips, though, still in the car for Grip Hacks Engineering, will be handing that car, that number 12 car, over to Lou Gobi in the next minute or so. This is still Wojtek Pawczyk fighting it out with Josie Austin, still side by side. And Josie Austin, you've got to say, doing a grand job of doing some defensive driving. That car looking a little bit worse for wear, though, and Josie, not used to, I think, having to fight so hard. Harry Phillips then into the pits, Laura, for the final time, and we have got a race on our hands.
Yeah, definitely. Oskar Sandberg also quite good in his second position right now, but then let's see where he's ending up in third, or hopefully then not fourth, because that's the worst place to be. But we want to hear him in the commentary box, of course. It would be so fun to have them there, but all the others as well. It's interesting. Now we see some of the teams swapping the drivers, but others are still flying, which is good. And also Cosmo Marsh on the forefront, hoping getting some points here. But as you mentioned, Josie, this is where you are good in learning to defend yourself and keep track position. This is also key, that you don't get nervous if there's somebody really like bigger in the mirror. You just get into your line and someone has to pass you, otherwise it's not working. But let's see, Alu Gobi is just then out of the pit lane shortly, and look at this, what we have here. Then also Benedetti in the pits, and Cosmo Marsh as well. Yeah, I'm pretty keen to see what this undercut try made in terms of the gap they had, but at least a clear track for Alu, which is pretty smart.
Certainly is. So we keep our eye on this just to see how this is going to pan out here at Zolder. Oskar Sandberg provisionally in the lead of this race then, 27 laps old, and the 101, of course, out of the turn with the pit stops. Alou Gobi holds on to that lead then from Sarah Dove, crucially, and that is exactly what we were waiting to see there. And in all intents and purposes now, it's really Alou Gobi's race to lose here.
Yeah, it definitely is, and they are close by, and sometimes maybe if there's a small mistake, they can still see each other. It's not a super large gap, but at least a good buffer, better than having just 1 or 2 seconds gap between each other, where Althea Book is having only 0.26, trying for Sarah Moore to take in, which is really interesting. These both ladies on track pretty fast. Good fight to expect there as well. So at least if Sarah Dove has the chance to get a hold of Alou Gobi, she might see her in some corners already. Just giving you the extra grip, the extra spice, and also the teammates are just, of course, going wild on the chat and screaming, probably, and helping them out. I think that this is key now to just keep the head clean for the last 15 minutes, so to say. Not to make any mistakes, because this will then have a huge impact, as we will see probably change in the leader kind of that. But you see the gap has already closed a bit between them, and kind of more than we expected, so which is good. Undercut worked kind of.
Certainly did. 15 and a half minutes left to go then. So the gap between Alou Gobi and the 177 now down to 6.1 seconds, and Cosmo Marsh, after that amazing run for the AMS, a stop-go 30-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That's an absolute stomach punch, because that was an amazing run for Cosmo Marsh there. Has done their pit stop though, but yeah, that's going to be a big dent. It won't mean too much in the championship, because obviously still, it's still got a chance of coming out and making some big inroads. But 15 minutes left to go. That's the last thing you want to see, is it?
Yeah, and also he was so. I mean, she was really, really good in that sense to lead the M class right now. And then you just will be pushed back, and having no chance at all. I mean, really sad, because you pushed so far, and now dropping probably back into third place there. Wow, what a fun outcome here. I mean, did we have a new pit exit? This was interesting. But maybe we get a fun replay out of this. It's sad to see, because you drive your heart out and then just a tiny little speeding. But yeah, this is unfortunately how it is. Luckily, they don't have to pay for this. It's just like a time penalty. But this is, as you see, third place, not fun enough for that. This was the thing.
Ow. That is not what you want to see. Well, that would be poor Josie Austin that's caught up in that one from the looks of delivery on that car. But back to the battle for 15th and 16th. Roberta Leska is being harassed by Yvonne Hoeflaar there in the 150. A car, you've got to say, Laura, very, very much out of position down there in 16th. Contact, and Yvonne Hoeflaar's day goes from bad to worse. Control orderly, and oh my goodness me, straight into the side of a car stranded on the track. And what else could Yvonne Hoeflaar do? They're told to hold on to the brakes if they spin until it's safe to rejoin the track. There's yellow flags for a reason, folks, and yeah, that is accident avoidance 101 there.
Yeah, normally turn one, if it's blind and you can't see the spot, that's pretty tricky. But as you said, there is a warning for the drivers, and completely like flat out racing into the car. Sometimes it's a problem if you just look at the car in front of you, just definitely hit it. But I was wondering why, because now Yvonne had really good position on track. She was on the inside, from my perspective, also up in the front. And then if someone is really not paying attention to the left mirrors, if you don't have triple screens or whatever, it can happen sometimes with a single screen. I know how that feels, but it's sometimes better than to just try to not make any funny moves and squeeze someone out. And this was a tiny contact, but led to a bigger crash there. Yeah, what a day. Not the best one for Yvonne. I guess she will be screaming now in her rig, but actually she's quite calm normally. I haven't heard a bad word from her when she was driving, but I know how that feels for her because, yeah, normally she's further up, but still third then in the pro category. And look what Charles Solberg is doing here, second now in the Pro-Am category, chasing down Annalise Wright.
Yeah, for sure. So, 11 minutes left to go in the race here. Sarah Fair back behind the wheel of the 139 machine, still trying to catch up. And here's Sarah Dove. Sarah Dove, 6.2 seconds behind the Lou Gobi. Doesn't look like there is much chance of that gap coming down. So again, as I said, all eyes are going to be on Lou Gobi, and that really evens things up towards the final round of the championship. Natalie Lee behind the rather damaged, rather stricken Yvonne Huffelaar, and I'm also seeing the 102 of Truls Solberg hasn't made final stop back to head the Rangseiter. So I'll be interested to see what happens there, because I would imagine that is going to be a penalty for Solberg in that number 16. So yeah, that's a strange one on that one. But Laura, I mean, this is pretty much been an awesome race. Racing incident decided between the incident between 997 and the 87. That is Beter, Buhenska and Valenza. But again, I mean, we've had everything in this race, haven't we?
Yeah, definitely some penalties. Definitely also for the number 137 being in the pit with the SG30 now, just to be cleared. Natalie Lee on the move. On the outside. I was just literally holding my breath because that's not normally gonna work if you outbrake each other. Now they have enough gap down as a drag race into the first corner. Yeah, who is having a better opportunity there, literally pushing towards the pit wall. It went well, at least for Natalie Lee in that sense, being in 17th position now, but this fight goes on.
Yeah, it certainly does. And there we are in the final 10 minutes of the race, in this penultimate race of More Female Racers Season 4 here on the SimGrid. David Christie and Laura Luff bringing you all of the action live and direct here on YouTube. As always, if you do enjoy what you're seeing here tonight, folks, hit that like and hit the subscribe button as well. There's tons and tons of racing content, including that move there by Natalie Lee for turn 1. Grazie Kimi over Yvonne Huffelaar there. And one of the things that I spoke to Denise Pope about earlier on is the high standards and expectations that they've got for themselves. And what do they do? Oh no! Hang on, Laura! What has happened to Lou Gobi? It's happened again! Lou Gobi has lost the race for herself! Oh my goodness me! Sarah Dove back in the lead of the race, 7 seconds ahead. That is unbelievable stuff. 142, 170 for the last lap round, Laura. That is absolutely gutting.
Yeah, we have to definitely speak to her because this is so unreal. Always, maybe she's trying to, or she's happy with always trying to fight her way back, but this is not what we normally see. But if you are in the lead, also it can be kind of exhausting if you try to make no mistakes and then you maybe be a bit distracted and then it's happening. Yeah, she's trying to get the gap down to 6 seconds, but is still less time for this. And this will be increasing the lead. And now we're just checking back at the replay. What was the issue here? And Josie Austin there, and that was a dive bomb.
Oh no! No, that is awful. That is the 11 of. Wait, was that the number 11? Yeah, Charlotte Robertson. Who just absolutely sent it up the inside. That is a horrible accident. So I immediately have to take that back because I said Lou Gobi's lost the race for herself. She was just an innocent victim in that one. Again, I've got no doubt that wasn't intended or malicious from Charlotte Robertson. Probably just missed the breaking point there. But I mean, that has potentially now got huge championship implications here. We can see it here, lining up a move, then moves to the inside. It just doesn't break enough.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
This was really just millimeters, but this was causing the collision and kind of ghosting a bit. But yeah, still there was the contact, and I can imagine how Gobi is feeling, because I would go completely nuts. Nobody should listen then to my words screaming into the microphone, but this is insane. Even then, championship-wise, look at the fight between Ava de Andrade on that sense. And Bueta Bohenska, it's also quite tight, and also Eva. It's the other one. It's the number 205 machine there, if I'm not mistaken. Can't barely read my numbers here. No, it's 29. 29 and 997, Ava de Andrade. Now side by side, also quite. I mean, they have found each other on track quite often, and let's see who has a better pace in the end. For turn 1, yeah, that was working quite well. So Ava de Andrade has still the lead for the points here a bit in terms of the 10th position being now Beda Bohenska. But yeah, nice to see at least that also then, even with the third driver swap, it has not less spice as expected. I think still the race has huge potential to be one of the best ones I have seen so far.
Well, do you know what's funny, Laura? With you being at the Saudi GP yesterday, I was a way to jokingly say, oh, well, this must be just a very calm day at the office for you. It's not turned into that way, has it? Goodness me. It's a drive-through to car 11 for avoidable contact. Absolutely unsurprisingly there for Charlotte Robertson. Predictably, YouTube chat is going absolutely nuts right now. Jesse Kalpinen, who is not best pleased with that. Vives 95 saying that Monza, Silverstone and now Zolder, that every race has been taken away but from Gobi by a punt in the back when in P1. But also we then have to look at the incidents where Gobi has lost the lead by themselves. You know, we look at the front of this lead. How much further in front would she have been if it wasn't for that spin going over the curbs there? And Alice Tricks pointed out MFR drama strikes again. We need to get our own, you know, like drama theme tune to this. You know, whenever something happens and we get some dramatic music playing. Laura, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's nice, and still, as we can say, it's always surprising. So nobody can expect what happens, and definitely we see good action on track. That's what actually the viewers want to see, right? Sometimes even the drivers don't want to have it, but this is actually great fun for everybody to watch, and also the fights back in the spirit of this. I think this is also playing quite well into the mindset of every driver now, just not giving up and trying the best. And also we see that the drivers still fight until the end, which they didn't probably not do in the first place, because then you sometimes, even if you have a spin-off or if you touch someone and get a penalty, you're sometimes kind of, oh yeah, all right, then I just don't try to push as much as I can. But now they still try to close the gaps, and this is really nice to see, racing until the end. And also Sarah Murna back in 6th position. Maybe there's also a chance. I mean, we have 4 minutes left to catch up for Laura Valenska. Now we would love to have DRS, unfortunately not on these cars, but maybe that's would be what Sarah Moore is hoping. Hopefully she can find a place where there's a good chance to grab position 5.
Certainly is. And I'm just having a look here with the fact that Celine Witcher in the leads on the silver race. Obviously that has implications for the 101 as well. They are out of contention for the championship, are they? No, they're not actually. This would bring them sort of back into it a little bit, with the 77 of Sophia Ronwin being back down in 17th place overall, but about 10th place I think that is roughly in silver class as well. So they bring themselves up into contention with them, but Sophia Ronwin has basically put them, that team now, in a very difficult position, and I think the championship standing is going to look very, very different after tonight. But the only one good thing is that team has got a massive lead of 20 points, bigger than any gap in the other championships. Right, this is the last spot for the silver podium then. This is Sarah Moore and Laura Valenza then, 87 and 26, and we have still got battles cracking on with 2.5 minutes left to go here. And again, Sarah Moore really has been fighting this fight all race long, trying to get past this number 87 here. But Sarah Moore, incredibly fast, Laura, behind the wheel of this one. And also Celine Witcher onto the back of Esmeralda van der Nald.
Yeah, this is pretty awesome that she's also in third place and Celine Witcher now in fourth, where she had been before. So great that they also are quite close together, still having chances to catch the podium, or at least catch the different positions here. And then would be really good if Esmeralda van der Nald could get now the championship lead then in her class. This is really, really good that she has improved so massively over the last rounds. And we have the drive-through being called out for Robertson in this place. Of course, for that kind of mistake here. And Sarah Murch is still in the fight for position 5. Yeah. Closing the gap here. I hope that she can make it in the next lap latest.
Yeah, certainly is. So Esmeralda van der Nald in the lead of silver class then in the number 15 machine. That's some huge points then. That would put the championship lead with them, because they were 20 points behind the championship leader. They are now 5 points ahead of the GTWR RHG Female Racing Emerald machine in that 15 car. So here we go then. This is the number 177, Sarah Dove, and this is going to be the final lap of the race here that we have started. And Sarah Dove is going to have a huge grin on her face at the end of this race. She's going to be very happy to take the win from Alou Gobi. And I kind of want to speak to Alou, but I kind of don't as well, knowing the absolute devastation that is going to be on across both Alou Gobi and the teammate of Harry Phillips as well on the number 12 Grip Packs engineering machine. So cruelly robbed away from them that race win here. But 20 seconds left to go. We see picture in picture your race leader Sarah Dove for the final time this evening, coming through the last half of the circuit here, through Terranbocht and then through into Boulderbocht in just a couple of minutes, or just a couple of seconds time. So all that's left to do is Sarah Moore still trying to hunt down Laura Valencia for that final place on the silver podium. We'll hand it over to Sarah Dove.
Yeah, great, fantastic win from her side. Congrats to them. It's pretty amazing that we see her winning with 7 seconds ahead. Alou Gobi couldn't push in the end, unfortunately closing the gap. So then she will come in second place, where we then also see, a great strong drive. It was just kind of emotional, and then Van der Nald was just hitting. Oh no, she's standing there. Wow.
Oh,
this is kind of a
no, that is
mess
so
in the
awkward
back.
to watch. Oh, that is awkward to watch. Celine Witcher facing the wrong way. This is chasing everything down to get across the line. Sarah Moore is going to move up into position then. This is the huge battle now for Laura Valencia. Again, can Sarah Moore get it done? Just a couple of corners left to go. And Laura, I mean, this is an amazing finish, and I can't believe we've called out the finish and it's still not over.
Yeah, sometimes it can happen that they still race until the last point, and now we hopefully have our race results coming in shortly, but I'm not sure if I see correctly what I see.
Yeah, you do. I just heard our producer Michael behind screaming his head off at the fact that second place had gone, and I think that's what he was trying to say there at the number 12. So I cannot believe what I've just seen here. So I was getting mistaken there, because Alou Gobi wasn't shown as in second place there, has now, thankfully, but it was that battle for silver place there. So I think we need a slide rule, an abacus, and a calendar to try and work out what the heck just happened in that race. Sarah Dove, though, is confirmed as the leader and the race winner in that 177 machine. Alou Gobi finishing in second place. Esmeralda van der Nald takes the silver outfit, and to be honest, we're going to need about a week and a half to work out the rest here, Laura.
Yeah, sometimes I was literally confused at this point, and the attention and the excitement, also the emotion throughout the race, that was what we didn't expect, and actually quite great that we had it, to see many drivers having their moments in this race, and we hopefully hear some of them giving their emotions back, where we see again the replay of this phenomenal start, where we also had slightly touches, but the rest of the field just tried to manage to get through. It was an interesting race, and also what the fans out there mentioned, it's great that at least this was the best race so far, although we had enough to see and enough to go through, and also the penalties were flying in like crazy, but what a race, I have to say.
Wow, I need a minute to catch my breath after all this. We'll get some driver interviews in just a couple of minutes' time, but confirmation of your top 10 then. Sardov taking the win, Alugobi in second place, Esmeralda van der Nald in third, Celine Witcher in fourth, Laura Valenza in fifth, Sarah Moore in sixth position, Altea Book in seventh, Eva de Andrade in eighth, Jessica Pelletier in ninth, Beater Behenska in 10th position there. So some huge changes. We'll get clarification on exactly. There we go, that's the order then. Elitsa Indriani for the 205 takes the Pro-Am outfit there, and then in the 187, I believe it was, in the Am class, takes the Am class win as well. So Laura, some thoughts ahead of our interviews on that?
Yeah, I only can say I'm pretty excited for the last round, which we are going to announce shortly, so stay tuned for that, because it is really, really excellent that we have still one final round left. I'm pretty happy that we can have the action coming in a few weeks' time, before Christmas, that everybody can take home their trophies then over Christmas and enjoy. So I enjoyed this season even more than the last one, because we were so involved and emotionally attached, and I hope everybody as well. And let's look for our interviewers. Over to you then, David.
Excellent, Thanks very much for that, Laura. We've got a whole host of names to chat to. I think we'll bring in Sophie Ronwin and Matt Muirhead first, and a very, very good evening, guys. Still in the fight for the championship, but an absolutely devastating night for you guys tonight. Sophie, we'll come to you first. Talk us through the first couple of laps.
The first couple of laps didn't go very well. Took out Mia in turn 2, which put us near the back of the pack, and yeah, it just went downhill from there.
And obviously, you know, it was disaster recovery for the majority of the first half of the stint for you. When you're in a situation like that, what keeps you going, Sophie?
Just trying to get the best I can, because I'm fighting for this championship, so any points is good points.
And then obviously Matt, Sophie brings the car in, hands things over to you, and we didn't see much of you because you, again, like Sophie, you just had your head down trying to make the most of it.
Yeah, it was, well, I've fortunately had a bit of clean air when I did come out, so I could just set laps consistently, try and close whatever gaps that I could, which did seem a bit futile at times, but you've got to keep going, get any points that you can, like Sophie said.
And obviously, it's a huge dent to the championship, but it still leaves you as one of the top runners for the final round that we'll be revealing in just a couple of minutes' time. And Sophie, coming back to you finally, I want to get over to the viewers at home. How different is it being at the front of the silver pack as opposed to being towards the rear of the silver pack?
There's definitely a big gap in ability. There's a lot of new drivers in the silver class. I feel that it maybe could have been split a bit better, but it is what it is. And Zolder is a very, very difficult track to pass on. Even if you're a second, 2 seconds faster, you're still going to struggle to get past.
Well, best luck for the next rounds, and fingers crossed it's a happier outing for the pair of you. Thanks very much, Sophie and Matt.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So there we go. The disappointment, very, very obvious, and we'll hand things over to you, Laura, because you're about to have a chat with Oscar Sandberg and Celine Witcher.
Yeah, exactly. I'm pretty excited to have you here, both Celine Witcher and Oscar Sandberg. Hi, guys. How was the race for you? It was kind of looking for a podium in the end, but what happened then to just push you back to 4th place? Starting with you, Celine, and then Oscar.
Well, I mean, the race was on the whole going pretty good. We were trying to keep it simple, play the strategy game, play the long game, and everything seemed to be going fairly well. But unfortunately, with the track being so narrow, there was just the one minor issue, unfortunately, in the hairpin with backmarker and teammates, and things didn't go so well. So we, as a team, kind of handed a freebie over to Esmeralda, but tried to battle back in the end, but unfortunately didn't quite get there. I know I don't think there was any confusion or anything like that, but we had ourselves a little repeat of Verstappen Hamilton there on the last lap, but thankfully
rivalry in the teams.
Yep.
Exactly, the rivalry in the teams continues. But you have a great fan base. That's what we can definitely say. On YouTube, you're quite popular. So, what are your expectations then for the last race, and specifically Oscar? Welcome back. And how is your fun part when you're racing in mid of the pack in this season?
Yeah, I'm a little short of words at the moment because of what happened in the race, but to see it over a season, I haven't been supported Celine for the whole season, but at least the races we have had have been a lot of fun, especially the race day, you can say, all the build up with practicing together, practicing driver changes and things like this have been quite crucial for us, and as you can also see that we catching positions actually in our pit stops would then show that our practice is working. And I have to say I dislike the Ferrari, but together with Celine it makes fun.
I know that you want to say that, but yeah, looking forward to the last round. For what did you vote it, Celine? Which track did you want to drive on?
I personally didn't have a huge preference, but because I mean the Ferrari is not exactly stellar on bumpy British tracks, but because it would be a home race for one of our Turn 1 teammates, Natalie Lee, I decided to vote for Donington Park.
Still having good teammates across all the Turn 1 racing drivers. What about you, Oscar?
I did vote for Suzuka, but it was not possible. So I followed my lovely teammate here, Celine. So support her all the way.
That's great. That's what we want to see. Thank you, guys. Really, really important that we have you here and that you have fun out with the more female racers. And great to see you on the track. And looking forward to the next one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
So there we go, Oscar Sandberg and Celine Witcher, and let's bring in your silver class winners. If we'll bring them in just now. There we go. I think that's them in. Excellent. Esmeralda and Stefan, a very good evening. Congratulations on the class win there. Some late drama at the end. We'll come to that in a second. But Esmeralda, talk us through the start, because that was a very crazy start.
It was a lot of heart attacks. I saw the cars in front of me, and I just tried to evade, and I think I hit someone on my left, but there was nowhere I could go. And I just tried to get into the rhythm. And I think we had our share of accidents and heart attacks, but in the end we got the win. And
obviously handing things over to Stefan, it was a fairly quiet run for yourself, because obviously you just got on with things, cracked in some huge lap times, and really got the final run set up beautifully for Esmeralda.
Well, actually, I got the car in P1 and I lost P1 immediately because when I exited the pits, I got hit by a pink car just at the exit of the pits and I spinned. And therefore, one lap later, when Oscar came out of the pits, we were just next to each other and I couldn't keep up with him. I'm not very happy with my own performance, but still kept it safe for Esmeralda, who did a fantastic job to catch up P1 again, and we had a bit of a lucky moment when P1 hit a back marker and the road opened up for Esmeralda to take the first position. So congratulations to Esmeralda especially. She did the great job today.
Esmeralda, remind me never to compliment Stefan again. very humble person.
No, the thing is, when I do it right, I mean, there are other races where I was quite happy with my performance, but today I'm not so happy with my lap times or my average performance. I did a couple of mistakes. And that spin because I got hit by a car exiting the pits, so I could be better off. But Esmeralda also had her own share of incidents with some back marker, with some little issues here and there, but she really did a fantastic third stint.
How loud was the cheer when that P1 went across the line?
I muted myself because I couldn't laugh. I couldn't stop laughing for half a lap, so I had to mute myself. And Esmeralda was in full attack mode, so she told me to shut up a couple of times because she wanted to really focus on catching Celine. And that's exactly what she did. But when the Moses trick happened in front of her, I muted myself because I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, we can't be luckier than this. It's impossible.
So finally, has it sunk in then? You go into the final round of the championship as silver class leaders.
No, I just heard it I think 5 minutes ago. So it's still unbelievable. So we've got to train really hard for the next track, and hopefully we can get the win again. And I really hope to close this up with a championship win.
Yeah.
On that note, actually, is there because obviously you are sister drivers GTWR overall? Is there any orders from the team at all, and how you are to approach this, or is it
no?
Nope.
It's just we have to keep it clean, of course, but just who's better will win, and no team orders.
Excellent stuff. Well, an absolute pleasure to talk to you guys tonight. Congratulations on the class win, Esmeralda van der Velde and Stefan Griffet. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much.
You.
Thank you very much. See you next time. See you in 2 weeks.
There we go then, 2 weeks time indeed, Laura, and we get something exciting, incredibly exciting to announce, and I think I'm going to give the honours to you, Laura. Why don't you tell the folk at home where we're going to be racing in 2 weeks time?
Yeah, interestingly, and I'm happy that the racetrack I was voting for was also winning here, and because we will be in Donington Park. That was actually 53% who voted for that track, and Setterton, as we just heard also from Denise Pope in the beginning, wasn't so much in favor. That's why we go to Donington, and this will be pretty glad to hear that there is no team order. Because that's pure racing, that's what we want to see, that there will be no tactics and politics behind the scenes. They train together, they work it out, and we will hopefully see a really exciting final round.
Join us then in 2 weeks time for the grand finale of More Female Racers Season 4, where every single championship is up for grabs. The Pro-Ams, the Silvers and the Ams will all be decided in 2 weeks time at Donington Park. Until then, I've been David Christie. Joining me as always, the wonderful company of Laura Luft. A huge thank you to our commercial partners as well, and a huge thank you to our production team behind the scenes. As always, join us in a couple of weeks. We are going to have an absolute barnstormer at Donington. Until then, have a wonderful week. We'll see you next time.